Beyond the thousands of kids that we care for on a day-to-day basis in the clinic, the other thing that Cycle for Survival allows us to do is to do the research that's necessary to continually improve the outcome for all the thousands of kids that will come to our doorstep in the future.
I think every doctor should not be called a doctor. They are angels. They are super angels. Because if you see what they do and how they change life, they really do the important stuff. So any moment I sat with Dr. Singh, he never said to me, you have cancer. He said to me, we have cancer. We will deal with it. You will survive. I promise you, you will survive.
When I travel the country and people have experienced or been a part of Cycle for Survival, they are so excited, so passionate, so moved, so inspired by what this means.
In the last 10 years, we are now analyzing the DNA of every single tumor, and we are beginning to identify how to treat these cancers in a better way. And this year, I think that we all were moved by the history of two little girls, one coming from Bangladesh and another from New York. One girl had a very rare sarcoma type. The other one, 14 years old, had breast cancer. 14 years old, breast cancer. Both of these girls had never responded to the prior therapies that they had received. They had gone under chemotherapy, they had gone under multiple surgeries, nothing worked. Thanks to your support, we were able to sequence their tumors. In both cases, we found two genes that we knew were very important. Our investigators at MSK, our pediatric teams, together with the teams at the Center for Molecular Oncology, led by David Solid and others, were able to get two drugs that they thought were going to work for these cases. And in two cases, the tumors went away, and as of today, they are still gone.
What I've learned is that even when treatment ends, the journey of being affected by cancer doesn't. So I thought I'd share a story that happened to me recently. I walked into my dorm to go back to my room, and I realized I forgot my ID that allows me to get into my building. I showed the security guard the only form of ID I had on me, which was a picture of me from high school with long hair and just not looking like I look now. And he said to me, "This is you?" And he stared at me suspiciously. "It is." I smiled apologetically. My hair was different. He nodded and continued to ask me a bunch of questions to assure I was who I said I was. And eventually, he handed me my old ID and opened the little gate to let me back into my dorm. "If I were you," he added on my way inside, "I would have kept the long hair." And I laughed as though this was an okay thing to say. I got into the elevator and I felt my entire body shake. I felt the tears. I felt all of the day's sadness find its way back into my heart and into my soul. And my suite mates saw me and said all the right things. They calmed me down. Eventually we could make incredibly morbid jokes. And what's really scary is that this is a best case scenario. There are people who don't get the luxury of hysterically crying over the loss of their hair. They don't get to see a day where their hair grows back. But I think it's really important that we imagine a world where no one has to go through that.
Is it your neighbor, your classmate? Is it your colleague from work or a family member? Is it your brother or sister, your mother, your father, your son or daughter, a spouse, or is it you? Whomever it is, remember this, that by being here today, you are now forever part of the Cycle for Survival community. That by being here today, you are now forever part of a great and powerful movement.
It was a really difficult time, and I thought maybe this would be a positive outlet for me. So I said, let's try it. I had one bike with two of my friends, and we came, and I left with so much more than I thought I was going to leave with. I really gained motivation and positivity to go back to my mom and help her in her fight and keep pushing her to push every day and give it everything she had. And although I'm not in the fight on a personal day-to-day basis anymore, and we're here honoring my mom, I want to give that same feeling and that same motivation to every person I can. Because the more you go home and you fight and you give it everything, you have no idea how much you're helping those people who are affected by this disease.
A group of investigators sequencing in the program discovered a new mutation in a gene that no one ever expected could lead to the cause of cancer. In fact, if we could turn off that mutation, patients would go into remission. So today, there's actually, and Ross and his team have been leading a clinical trial that was just reported for the patients with a rare form of leukemia. But the exciting thing is, it's the cause of other rare cancers. The gift just keeps on giving. What started to investigate the cause of a rare cancer turns out to be much more fundamental and allows us to spread and offer new opportunity and hope to many patients.